I can leave it somewhere.
We can scoot it forward. Hey guys, how's it going? Matt here with another episode from AZUB. We are in the shop. We are where the dreams get assembled and sent out to all parts of the world. And part of my journey here has been growing with the family here at AZUB. You know, all the different people that keep the gears working and put these interesting machines together. And today, I wanted to talk to Milan because he is a production manager.
Right.
A lot of the people that work here have interesting backstories, you know, and they fit really well with AZUB because of their history. The trikes and bikes that get sent out in tandems are sort of unique, you know. If you're doing an upright bike, you're a certain type of person, but if you want to bend the rules, you know, then you go with a recumbent, or you go with a trike, or you go with some other things.
When people search for the best machine, they may get the most crazy machine. And also when you search for the best job, it may finally be the most crazy job.
How far do you live from
I used to live in the very western part of Bohemia, about 400 kilometers from here. Okay. Which is not that far, but for Czech people used to living really locally, I would say it's quite a big distance.
We went for a beer ride a few days ago, and you were talking a little bit about where you grew up from. I mean, what kind of life did you live in early childhood, and how is it different from the life you live today? If that's okay to ask that question.
Yeah, that's absolutely okay. When I was a young kid, we lived in what people would call poor conditions or poor living conditions. I lived with my parents and my daughter, my sister and brother in a small house with just one room, electricity used just for lights, and we had a wood stove, no source of water inside the house. Or originally we had to carry water from the village, I mean drinking water. Then we made a well on the garden, so it became much easier. Compared to how people are used to living now, it's a big difference.
Now you've had a lot of big adventures, like you've done a lot of big things. Some of them you've told me, some of them the guys have told me, because they're like, did Milan tell you about this thing? You know, he was walking all over this place and doing these sorts of things. Before we get into the actual stories, what was it that really inspired you to do some of these really big things?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, living in some kind of isolation was a choice of my parents, because they didn't want to participate on what communist regime was doing here. Okay. So they deliberately escaped, let's say, from civilization. So that's why we lived as we lived. Freedom was something spelled in our family from my really young childhood. So my life is kind of seeking for freedom from the time when I wake up to the time when I go to bed. And this is what forces me or pushes me to discover things and just to live a let's say free life, which means that there are like no limits or no borders. When I want to walk to nature, then I just go and walk. And for me, it's like, okay, now I'm enjoying walking, so I walk 1 hour, 10 hours, 20 hours, get a bit of sleep and then go on. And the same on bicycles. I love long distance touring and I love traveling in general. Meeting new people, interesting people, but also just visiting new places and staying in nature. outdoor life is one of the most important things for me. Maybe also connected with my childhood, because I grew up. Our house was situated near a forest, near a pond, like 2 kilometers from the closest village. So I was in direct connection with nature every day.
Freedom of movement.
Yes.
You know, freedom of movement. You know.
That's what my parents and grandparents missed, and that's what I want to take advantage of.
Yeah, because you have it.
Yeah.
Having the life that you lived when you grew up helps you to appreciate what you have today.
Yes.
I think a lot. This is a side story, but I think a lot of the world problems that exist today are because people can't appreciate what level of freedom we might have in different ways, you know, and so they're kind of mired in this, my Netflix is not working, you know, and their whole day is ruined, whereas, you know, the abilities that we have today are pretty amazing.
Yep.
You know. So I was walking around, I think Tension Castle, Tension, right? Tension with Trenčín. And Hansa was telling me a story about how AZUB was sponsoring you to do this walk, and you had hurt your ankle, and you ended up, or your leg somehow, and then they were reporting back, and you were like, you know what, my leg really hurts, so all I could do was like 80 kilometers or something like that. Like, you know, I mean, different people have different ideas of, I know a lot of people that would be like, I twisted my ankle, I'm done, you know? What was that project? You walked, how far?
1,000 miles. That was the original idea.
Yeah.
It's kind of race, originally a bicycle race across Czechoslovakia, from the very western point to the very eastern point, or vice versa. But due to COVID restrictions, it was not possible to go to ride or walk the whole path. So we had to go around Czech Republic, which actually is longer.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time to make a circle, so I just opted for a shorter version, which was 1,000 kilometers instead of 1,000 miles.
Quitter.
Yeah.
So how many kilometers would you walk every day? For how long? It took you how long?
It took. I must say I don't remember, because it was neither my longest.
It wasn't even on the radar. you know, when Hansa told me that story, I was like, "Holy shit!" But you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's on the ranking. Yeah, it's not even on the radar."
No, it's like maybe among my 10 longest trips or something like that. But
can I ask you how is your body? You know, I have knee problems. My dad had knee problems, and I'm trying to push through them, not to damage my body, but just to kind of think that if the muscles around my knee can support the bad part, then I just keep going, you know, and the quicker you run to the grave, you know, the worse you're going to get. So I'm just trying to make sure that I take myself in a good direction. You've been putting your physical body through a lot more strain than the ordinary person. Do you have any, how are you holding up physically? And what problems did you have that you might have thought, maybe I should quit, but instead you keep going and push through? I'm curious.
Yeah, it depends. In normal life, I usually have just like 2 or 3 hours of physical exercise every day. I mean, mostly bicycle riding, kick bike riding, or whatever, just walking.
Yeah.
I realized that walking is good for recovery.
Yeah.
So whenever I have any physical problems, I usually start by walking shorter distances, longer distances.
What's a short distance for you? You talk about 5 kilometers or a kilometer or whatever?
Maybe even 5-10 kilometers when something serious happens.
Yeah. Or a little walk around the house.
Yeah. So walking usually doesn't put much strain on a body when one is used to it.
Right.
Just keeping slower pace and that's it. And that's everyday life. But then there are the races or events or just trips.
Yeah.
And then it's different. When you go for 1 month, For example, you go through several stages. So first week it's usually just brutal. Your body needs to get used to
right.
movement, everything. Then it becomes better, and after two weeks you're just kind of relaxed. All the small problems disappear and you're just happy and you're going. Then I would say after 3 weeks or so, some first damages start to occur.
Okay, the strain.
Yes, the strain. But it's still not dangerous.
Yeah.
Even in case you push very hard. And after 4 weeks, it's time to stop or slow down noticeably, I would say.
Oh, interesting. So you have difficulty, find the groove.
Yeah.
Then you start to wear and tear, and then it's like you've pushed the limits, and that's about enough.
Yeah.
And the limits are different for you than they were for me, and obviously different people have different ideas of where their limits are.
Yeah.
But interesting. Now, was Hansa talking about you only sleep like a few hours a night? Was that you, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, that's me.
How many hours do you sleep a night?
Usually 5.
Okay.
I used to sleep even much less, like 3 hours or so. But now it's about 5, and during the weekends I get 6, maybe.
Was this genetic at all? I mean, was your dad or your mom? I mean, obviously they didn't live the life that you live, like just in general. But were they physically, superior in that way, or did they have some sort of,
Both of them were great sportsmen.
Okay.
But as for the sleep, just ordinary people, I would
Do you have
say.
brothers or sisters?
Yes.
Are they physical workaholics like you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They are.
Okay, so it was something built into you, at a young age. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so we've talked about number 10. Let's talk about maybe one of the number 1s or the number 2. What is like, I know one of them, we're behind you. You've traveled a lot on that thing behind us, but what would you say is your top experience that defined,
Well, for me the top experience is my wedding trip. It was a walking trip with my wife from the place where she lived, which is in the middle of Slovakia, to the place where I lived, which was in the western part of the Czech Republic.
Okay.
And it was a special experience because my wife did never any kind of long distance walking before.
Yeah.
And
so you saw her go through that stages of...
Yeah. It was about 1,000 kilometers of walking, and we wanted to take the nicest path, not the easiest. So we went across mountain ranges and so on. So for her it was really difficult, I would say. We didn't cover really long distances every day.
Yeah.
But for me, I just felt the need to support her as much as possible. And this was, I would say, my most memorable journey. And it was a wedding trip before wedding.
Wow. So that was like it was her bachelorette and your bachelor party. You did it together.
Yeah,
and you did
like
it for
that.
1,000 miles of walking, keg stand, strippers, or walking 1,000 kilometers, who's to say? So what were you carrying? Were you carrying your food and your tent, and were you sleeping outside, or it was, outside, were you sleeping without a tent, or were you sleeping because there's some things you have to give up, right? If you're walking,
Yeah, like 50-50. We slept outside when there was just low risk of rain, but we had a tent.
Okay.
So sometimes we put up a tent in the evening. The difference is, like nowadays and 15 years ago when we did this, that we had no online news. We were in the middle of the forest, just with a map, and we could have a look on the sky and
it's gonna get bad.
Okay, looks good. No tent, and in the middle of the night, just a rain pour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
catch you off guard. What about the kick bike? How many kilometers have you done on the kick bike?
Altogether on different kick bikes, like 150,000
Okay,
kilometers, something like that.
something like that. 150,000 kilometers. And how many on that one?
This particular one is just a very fresh one.
Okay.
So it's about 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers,
Okay.
and it's a kick bike from last summer. I did it with my friend last summer. I built
You
it.
welded the frame and everything? Or
A friend of mine.
now, the 140,000 kilometers, how much of it was in Europe? How much of it was in the United States? Because I know you rode across the United States on a kick bike, right?
No, that
No.
was not me.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of people around
Yeah.
here with amazing stories. But, okay, so is this all in Europe? You're 140,000 kilometers?
Yeah, basically
Yeah.
everything.
Wow.
And most of it just commuting to work.
Okay. Can you show us?
Yeah, of course. Just how to kick, right?
Yeah, yeah. How fast can that go?
Well, it depends. Usually you can go about 70% of the speed of a bicycle.
Okay.
So that's basically it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because Hanzo was telling me about it. The strain comes in your standing leg, not on your pushing leg most of the time,
Yes,
right?
because it's like squatting on one leg.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of, this one, the pushing leg is sort of like just doing its thing, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
standing leg
Yes.
is
That's
like
all
always,
all the job.
holy moly. So you did 140,000 with the same width tires, or did you vary it on different ones, have different size?
Usually I use bigger wheels.
Holy
Like
cow.
28-inch wheels. These are just 20 inches, and it's a special kick bike designed for uphill riding. So
Okay.
it's very light. It's like 4.2 kilograms. Well, but I simply love it. It's a very agile kick bike, and it gives me a lot of fun. So originally I thought it would be only for racing and only for special occasions, but it became my commuter as well.
And how much elevation gain do you think you've got on that? Just an idea, like
Absolutely.
how many
no,
Everests have you climbed?
Absolutely no
Like,
idea.
I am guessing a few Everests.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that he's climbed a few Everests on that thing.
I like riding in the mountains.
Uh-huh.
So I climbed Pikes Peak on a kick bike, or I went 3 times on the top of the Mont Ventoux in one day on a kick bike, which is also about 4,500 meters.
Do you do any sort of blog or Instagram, or do you just do it for your own self?
Just for
Just for your own
myself.
self?
I do not even take pictures. So
Jeez. You know what? I was thinking about that because I'm always sharing, right? That's like what I like. That's what I enjoy doing. And I think about, because I meet people all the time with stories like this, because once you travel, you start meeting other travelers. I mean, I'm sure you've met some interesting
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
right? And most of the people don't share anything. And you think about all the inspiring stories that other people will never hear. You know what I mean?
that's
I mean,
right.
you know, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying, you know, it's just an amazing group of people out there doing amazing things every day, and most of these people will never hear about.
Yeah.
You know.
For me, the problem is that I like the moment. I mean, and I'm not able to capture the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not good at taking photographs or filming or whatever, so I'm not able to capture the moment. So I just keep it in my memory,
Yeah.
and I can tell people.
Yeah. What a memory you must have, full of like. You know what's funny is I was riding with Honza, and he was riding the recumbent bike, and every time that he wanted to capture a moment, he had to stop the balance of the bike. He had to get the kickstand. He had to get his phone out of his pocket. He had to lock the phone into his tripod. He had to stand on the side of the road, and as I rode past, he recorded me or whatever. And it made me think about, even with your kick bike, like that is, you have chosen this mode of transportation not because it captures moments, because it captures you, like it captures your heart, you know, like it's what drives you.
Yeah.
But the trike, one of the reasons that I chose the trike is that while I am riding, if I see something interesting or shareable, I can get in that side bag or handlebar bag, I can access my camera, I can have it out within 5 seconds and capture that moment that other people, like there was so many moments I was like, wow, Hans is missing a lot, or, you know, but his purpose is different from mine, just like your purpose is different from mine. So it's kind of wild. But I mean, we just talked about 3 stories, 3 or 4. I mean, the people here at AZUB, just in wrapping it up, have an amazing set of skills and passion and drive that you bring to AZUB. Now, granted, your job doesn't, it's not kick biking.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, there is a certain amount of what drives you that drives AZUB in a small part, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I believe that passion, not only that's passion for bicycles, that's passion for special projects, let's say, passion for sports, and or even passion for, I don't know, industry, business, marketing, or whatever. Yeah. Everything is connected here. Yeah. I would say. And well,
you know, I didn't expect to meet people. I don't want to compare people with other people, right? Everybody has their own story and their own, but the caliber of adventurer here at AZUB has been pretty interesting. I mean, when Hansa took me on the trike the last few days through Slovakia, I went on some roads I would have never personally gone on, because I would have said, oh, I don't know if my trike can take it, or I don't know if, you know, but Hansa was driving through and saying, we're going to do this. And I'm like, okay, all right, I can understand why AZUB makes these machines, you know, to do what they have to do and are built in a way that's high quality, you know. So anyways, pretty awesome. Anyways, that's Milan. And I'm going to miss you, man. It's been really nice hanging out with you for the period of time I've been here.
Yeah, and we also realized we are the same age.
Yeah, like within a couple of, like my birthday is today. Wish me happy birthday in the comment section. His birthday was the 19th. Wish him happy birthday in the comment section. So we're both approaching old. No.
Not young, not old.
Not young, not old.
Best age.
The golden. No, the golden is like later, right? We're in the, I don't know, the good part, where we have all the experiences and we're putting them to use, right?
Yeah, kind of fresh matured cheese.
Fresh matured cheese.
Or beer, better.
Yeah. Anyways, cool. So that's Milan. He's just one of many here at AZUB. Take it easy, guys. Jayoe. Bye-bye.
Bye.